Internet. It is that time again. Time for the OoTPC. This is episode number 007. I am Jordan B. Sanders, and joining me virtually through the series of tubes is Mike the Hammer K. Klodzinski. How are you doing, Mike?
Jables, I am wonderful. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right until I just remembered that I didn't call myself the Game Mage.
Oh, snap.
Because that's a thing now. If you checked out our most recent Hangout on Air, which we're calling Order More Tires, I kind of stated that I'm going to be going by the Game Mage now, so that's going to be my persona, as it were, in the band. So now that that's been introduced to the podcast, I think that'll be my intro for the podcast too.
The Game Mage.
So that's a thing. So that's preemptive band news. So we're already on this train, so let's just ride it. How about that?
I like that idea.
All right, so last week we did a very interesting thing, did we not, Mr. Hammer K?
We did lots of interesting things.
That's
lots
true.
of things happened.
Many, many things happened. And of those things were a couple videos we recorded of us playing through PT, the Silent Hills teaser for something that's not happening. But we put aside all of the talking about this demo, the game, whatever you want to call it, and we actually did some playing, we did some recording, and we actually captured some things that we were hoping to, things we don't know if other people have captured. They may have, they may not have, but it was things that really freaked us out.
Yep.
As that game has a habit of doing. So, the news is that this week I'm editing those videos together, and I'm gonna try to get those up before Halloween for the spoopy factor.
Very, very nice.
Because it's the appropriate time of year for that.
And you are a saint, by the way, for editing all that and putting all that together.
Yeah, I was about to say
especially
that's the only
that second clipping there.
Yeah, I know, that's the problem. That second one I'm gonna have to go through forever, man. We were just like out of it by the end of it, I think.
Yep.
But yeah, we did some interesting things with glitching and with just triggering things by doing certain sequences of events. So hopefully I'll be able to edit that in a way that makes that engaging, and it'll make it engaging, but be as terrifying for the viewer as it was for us.
Yes.
Because there were some screams that were done during that.
There were definitely some screams that happened during that.
Yeah. So that is a thing that's coming. Anything else for band news, Mike?
I don't think so. I think that's about it.
Okay.
We could diving into some music here shortly. On my end.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So yeah, that's gonna happen. No announcements just yet on that, but things are happening.
Yeah, and I've got some music I need to be working on that I said weeks ago that that's what I'm doing, and of course I haven't even been able to touch it since then. So
right.
Need to dig that back up, but be that as it may, that's that. So on to what we're playing, and Mike, I'll let you lead on this one.
All right. So I'm still working through Transformers Devastation on PS4. I didn't have a whole lot of free time last week, so I didn't really get much gaming on the PS4 front there.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, I know. But also, recently, last week, my wife, Anna, has been eyeballing this Yoshi's Woolly World game ever since it was announced. And so we got that last week. And yes, if you can handle the ultimate cuteness factor of this game, it feels just like it has the same like Yoshi's Island feel, except minus the baby.
Sweet.
So, yeah, right. But the aesthetic in this game is just unbelievable. Like, it is just, they took this idea and they just went with it. And it's one of those games where everything is the way it is just because, like, you start the game and it's like, oh, everything's made out of yarn and there's a bunch of Yoshis. There's no explanation. There's nothing. It's just like, this is the way life is.
Don't question it.
Right, exactly. But
I'm sure if you did, it would begin to unravel their world.
But yeah. It's pretty cool. It's the co-op in it's really cool. You can actually have two players on the screen at the same time.
Oh, nice.
Kind of adds another aspect to it where you can eat the other person and then they turn into an egg and then you throw them somewhere to get to a higher spot or something like that. So that's pretty cool.
Wow.
But yeah, it has all the same kind of mechanics and whatever that Yoshi's Island does.
Don't think about that.
Let's not think about that. But yeah, haven't gotten too far in it, but it gets a little challenging. It starts off kind of easy, but it gets a little challenging. I don't know. Once I beat it, I'll give a more detailed assessment on the difficulty. But I have a feeling it's one of those that's more than meets the eye. It's like, okay, this looks like a children's game, but there's some hard stuff. That's
right. Well, that's cool. Yeah, that's definitely one of the games I've been keeping my eye on too, because I did enjoy Yoshi's Island, and knowing that that's what I'm getting going into Yoshi's Woolly World is a much better feeling than going into Yoshi's Island thinking that I was getting Super Mario World 2.
Yep. Yoshi's Story for me was kind of a big disappointment just because it was really short. Did you ever play it?
I did not, but that's what I thought about Yoshi's Island, Super Mario World 2, that I really thought that was super short.
It's shorter than that. Like, when I originally played it, I beat it in like an hour and a half or something like that.
Dude, that's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy.
And I was like, really? That was it? But yeah, and there was another Yoshi's Island. It was for 3DS. It came out maybe like a year ago or something like that. I haven't played that. I think it kind of had some mixed reviews, but yeah, so far I'm pretty pleased with it. It has like an overworld kind of deal like Super Mario 3D World does.
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of cool. And this is cool. It has when you scan in amiibos, it actually they look like they don't. The Yoshis don't look like that amiibo, but they're color. They have like a color scheme like that amiibo. So like if you scan in the Sonic amiibo, then your Yoshi is blue, and then he has like red sneakers and and whatever. So
that's awesome.
So yeah. Anyway, Tag, you're it.
Well, I want to chase a small tangent real quick.
Okay,
talking about Yoshi's Island. Maybe I'll talk about this in more detail on the next Order More Tires, but I just want to make a statement, actually.
Yes.
It's an atrocity how short Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island is compared to Super Mario World. Because Super Mario World was like, there's so much you could do, so many secrets, just so much stuff to the game. Man. And Yoshi's Island is just like, with like 6 worlds or something, and then it's like completely linear. There's like barely any secrets. It's just like collect everything you can collect.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
I remember playing Super Mario World. I went over to a friend's house and he had the secret special world unlocked.
Oh right, yeah.
I didn't know
Star
about
Road.
this. Yeah,
no, special. The special after you beat Star Road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just like, whoa, what the? And I had to go home and immediately unlock this and do all the things.
I mean, the coolest part's when you beat the special and then like all the Goombas are like Pumpkinhead or whatever.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet. Yeah, it's so weird. It's like there's secrets inside of secrets in that game. It's just it's such a great game. It's got to be the best Super Mario Brothers game. It's just got to be.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. That's all there is to it.
I don't know how they'll ever beat it. I think that it's just at a point where they can't.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a story for another time. So on to me, what I'm playing, kind of the same as I was talking about in Order More Tires. Like I play Parasite Eve. I mean, of course, I'm playing Super Mario Maker again. That's kind of going to be always in the background.
Right.
But as far as like games on top of that, Parasite Eve, I'm hoping to continue that this week. I would really like to beat that in the next few weeks so that I can move on to some other stuff.
Very nice.
I really want to play the wonderful 101 that you were so kind to gift me for my birthday. That looks super sweet. it's my kind of game, like super colorful and just looks like it's really over the top.
Yeah, it's really over the top, like anything else Platinum Games does, but it's, you know, like kind of has like an anime, really bright and colorful feel to it, like you said. So
yeah, it sounds like right up my alley. So that's pretty much it. I'm looking around like if there's anything else for me to speak about. I can talk about this. I've not played it yet, and I plan to go do this as a video and go and do it blind, so not seeing any of it. I bought Duke Nukem Forever. I told you about this, Mike. This is, I think it's finally gotten to a point where it's at an appropriate price level. I went into GameStop. I picked this up off the shelf. I gave the clerk $2, and she gave me change back.
Goodness gracious.
So, I did not feel bad about paying $1.70 something with tax for Duke Nukem Forever.
With all the baggage that game comes with, it's worth $1 or whatever.
It's worth that just to see the spectacle, right?
Right.
It could be like the most broken game ever, and it would be worth it. But yeah, it's just hilarious. I wanted this game so hard not after it came out, but before, you know, they announced that like it had been acquired by Gearbox or whatever, or the rights to finish it. I wanted this game so hard because I loved Duke Nukem 2, and Duke Nukem 3D when I was younger, and I was like, man, yeah, I cannot wait, because Duke Nukem, the first two were really good, but Duke Nukem 3D was so much more of everything that was cool about Duke Nukem than the other two, that, you know, everybody thought that the fourth one, Forever, was going to be like just the best video game ever. And of course the industry changed a lot after Duke Nukem 3D, but I know that it's not what all of us had envisioned back then.
It's just, some of it is so face-palmy. Like, I'm just face-palming right here thinking about... I don't even remember what some of the things that they say in it. You know, I mean, you know how he does all the pop culture references.
Oh, yeah,
when he talks, whatever. And he's referencing stuff that, you know, was popular in, like, 2001 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like as if a movie right now did... like a Matrix backflip in the movie or something, everybody'd be like, Right. It has that same kind of feeling to it. So,
I mean, yeah, even looking at the cover of this game, it's like pretty cringy.
Dude, it's funny. If you look it up on Wikipedia, under developers, it has like 20 people or 20 like different places listed on it.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like, wow, this game.
Well, I think it's funny that they had to take it out of the series on vaporware. On Wikipedia. You know how they like, this is part of a series on?
Yeah.
Or an example of. Yeah, anyway. Duke Nukem Forever, it's a thing that's in my hand right now. Yeah.
Shoot, I'd buy it for $2. I think I rented it from Gamefly, maybe. It's either Redbox or Gamefly, one or the other. Although for the price that I paid to rent it, I should have just purchased it for, you know, a couple years later for $2, but
yeah, ridiculous.
So yeah,
anyway, that's what I'm playing. I'm sure that I'll probably be playing some other things soon, but not really sure. I still got The Last of Us. I'm kind of like in the middle of that, you know. I'm like just stuck at this one place. I only tried it like twice, and then I got swept up in a whole lot of other stuff, but hopefully I'll get to go back to that and finish it, because I did like that game, and I do want to finish it. I'm just trying to get through all of this, you know, recording and video editing and all that jazz, and
yeah,
it's been a beast.
Yeah, the middle of that game kind of, it just wore me out, and I just had to, it just feels like a pit, and then once you get out of it, it's great, but it's just something about the middle of it is...
I'm tempted to put it on easy. I mean, that may sound bad, but...
I think I did. I'm not going to lie. I have no shame in that. Sometimes I just want to, you know, experience a story or whatever. It's like, I don't care.
Yeah, that's the thing is, like, I've played the 3 Uncharted games, and I mean, yeah, this is a better system. I mean, it's obviously they've improved it, but it's kind of like another Uncharted game, just with a zombie apocalypse skin on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm definitely just playing it for the story. So maybe I'll do that, be able to get through it pretty easy. But yeah, so that's what I'm playing. All right, next topic. So this is one that I put on our list to talk about because this is something that I don't want to say it pissed me off because I wasn't like, oh my goodness. I mean, I tweeted about this, but it's just one of those things where it's like, why? It really left me with the question why. So I want to talk about, in general, censorship in video games, but I want to use the recent example, if anybody's following, the newest Fatal Frame game. I think it's the 5th one in the series. It's called Maiden of Black Water. So this came out in Japan on the Wii U and just recently released on Wii U in North America and Europe. The game itself is rated mature, right? So, I mean, you're not really supposed to be able to get a hold of it if you're not 18 plus, or at least, there are a lot of retailers that, put those kinds of restrictions in place. Either way, it's not meant for, it's like, R-rated movies. It's not really meant for people under 18. And in Japan, and this isn't part of the main game, but there's an unlockable costume, and obviously the main character in this game is female, so this unlockable costume is like looking like lingerie, pretty much. So it's kind of revealing, but it's not bad. There are many video games that are alive that have way, way, way worse costumes than this in it.
Yep.
And so the crux is the American version that's released. I mean, we're not even getting a physical release in America here. We're in North America. We're only getting eShop only, and that costume is not in it. They did replace that costume with another costume that is, not scantily clad costume in any sort of sense. It's covering everything. And I'm not one of these people that's like, oh man, I really want to see that skin. I really want to see some, video game character in lingerie. It's not like that. It's just a matter of, why are you going to go and rate a game mature? It's obviously not meant for children, and then change the costume. It took intentional effort to make that change for the costume. So obviously it was an act of trying to say, this is not appropriate for this audience. Okay, and then why is it not appropriate for adults? There's no argument that that's not appropriate for adults. Maybe there's an argument that it won't sell as well. That's the only thing that I can think. But I can't understand that argument. That doesn't make sense to me.
So I had to look this up earlier because I didn't know. I had briefly saw somebody talking about this, but I haven't been keeping up with it. So the game's still rated mature?
Yes. That's
very interesting. Because
as far as I know, I did not check it actually on the eShop to see if they changed the rating.
Because I can totally see them doing the whole censorship thing to reduce the rating to get it down to teen or whatever, so it'll sell better. I can see that, but it's like, what?
But even then, though, I could see that if it was just like a general action or adventure game that brushed up against some topics that made it mature.
Yeah, exactly.
And they were able to censor that. But Fatal Frame is a survival horror game.
Right.
It's about ghosts and dying and avoiding being killed. I mean, it in general, the basic premise of the game is mature, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And should be treated in a mature way. And by mature, I don't mean, let's, put really revealing clothing on women. Let's throw blood all over the screen. Let's see decapitations. I don't mean mature in that sense. I mean mature, psychologically even. That's one of the biggest reasons that I love Silent Hill 2 is how mature that storyline is, and it's not violence per se. That's not the mature part of it. It's not about sexuality per se. That's not the major part of it. It's all about how all of those things go into some real person's real life and bring a realistic scenario that's like horrible in and of itself. And it's not like I want this costume in the game. I don't care about that at all. I really do not. It's just the principle of the matter. And they're obviously they're not editing the story. They're not taking anything away from that part of the experience. So I could see people, I kind of understand why people are like, well, why do you get so worked up about it? But it's like, I don't want to have to import the Japanese version of the game. One, it's not going to work on my console, right? Which is a completely separate issue that we need to talk about eventually in and of itself. But two, even if it did run on my console, I don't read or speak Japanese, so that wouldn't be helpful either. Right. But three, why in the world do we have... I understand there's sales reasons, but I want the experience that a developer intended for me, right? Mm-hmm. If somebody goes to the links to create a game... and this goes back to me viewing video games as art. And that's the problem, right? What we're dealing with right here is the conflict between the art of video games and the business of video games. Yep. That video games have to be able to sell to be able to be made. And you have to do things that sometimes compromise the integrity of the art. And I'm not trying to hinge a real integrity of art on a, piece of lingerie. But... It's a bigger issue than just that, though. This is just an example of it, right? Yeah. It's just, I understand that compromises have to be made, but when there are adult people who want to pay money for a certain version of something, and they are not, I mean, how is that good for business, right? Right. So I just don't get it. I really do not get it. I don't think there's anybody... I would be surprised if there were anybody who wanted to buy Fatal Frame 5 and did not buy it because there's an unlockable lingerie outfit.
Right.
I
mean, I watched the video and it's like... Yeah, like you said, there's worse stuff in Dead or Alive. I mean, no doubt. It's just...
That's not even that's like optional. With the unlockable stuff, you don't even have to see it or use it. In Dead or Alive, that's like default costume crap. I don't know. I mean, I know it's not the same console, and the whole thing is like, well, is this just Nintendo of America pulling their wannabe family friendly thing? And I can understand when they take the side of this argument where, we don't need to be hyper realistic. We're about making video games that are fun. More power to you. I am behind that. But when you also in the same initiative say we have to be family friendly in everything that we do, no, because there are fun games that are made for adults that adults want to enjoy. The problem with that thinking that everything has to be family friendly, or at least to some degree family friendly, is the sort of stuff that's keeping people to believing that video games are toys for children. Video games are not toys for children, and you should. I'm gonna step up on a soapbox here for a second. You should not have your children just playing video games. Okay, teenagers, that's a different story. That's a little bit of a different story. But, I mean, if you're talking about some like 8-year-old, 10-year-old kid, playing video games with your kids when they're that young, that's great. That's a great thing to be doing. You don't need to be just sitting them down in front of the video games. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I did when I was younger, but I begged my parents to do that. But I think too many parents these days, and this is again on a really tangential soapbox. So if I'm stepping my boundaries on what we need to be talking about on this podcast, you need to shut me up, Mike. Please do.
Well, you go for it.
But there's too many parents these days that just sit a kid in front of a TV and just watch TV, or sit a kid in front of video games, just play video games. And then that kid learns things about life through that TV, through those video games. And then they grow up to have a real skewed perspective on society and on people and on interpersonal relationships. And the parents wonder why. Why is my kid like this? It's because you didn't help your kid grow. You don't have to do everything with your kid for your kid, but you can't they have these substitute parents. People use TV and movies and video games and just toys in general as substitute parents, and you can't do that.
Oh, yeah.
And they want to force through laws in society to not let anybody do that. And then companies like this do it voluntarily. That's the big thing I have against Nintendo, is that, yeah, they're trying to be family friendly, but they're trying to facilitate this block to the video game industry. The longer that people perceive that video games are toys for children, two bad things are going to happen. One, parents are going to continue to use video games to babysit their children, and that's really bad for society in general. Yep. And two, the video game industry is going to continue to be held back. Nobody considering it as a serious medium for art. Nobody considering it as a serious way to explore the human condition, because they're going to just think it's toys. Yeah. Now that's potentially bad for society at whole, because that's another medium that we don't have, but it's definitely bad for the industry as a whole, because there's fewer people that are going to get pulled into video games because they're just going to think it's a toy for children.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
That's very true.
Okay. I had to get that off my chest, because I feel passionately about that.
Right. So reeling this topic back in.
Yes.
What were we talking about?
Censorship in video games. I am not for censorship of people who control the channels of communication, and that's what's happening here. Nintendo controls, especially because they have like the license by Nintendo license stuff, and most especially because they're not getting a physical pressing of this. It's just through the eShop. Nintendo's completely controlling this content. I'm sure that the creators of Fatal Frame are complying because they want us to try to sell Fatal Frame in North America. Right. But I bet you if you gave it, let it be up to their decision, they wouldn't do it. And you know how I know that? Because they didn't do it to begin with.
Exactly. I just don't understand why. There's, Bayonetta 2 is for the Wii U, and
totally,
there's
dude.
some stuff in there that's questionable.
You want to know why? Because Nintendo knew that Bayonetta 2 would sell Wii U's, but they don't think that Fatal Frame 5 will. In their defense, Fatal Frame 5 probably won't. But why treat one differently than the other?
Yep.
You lose a lot of credibility when you don't deal with things consistently.
Mm-hmm. And when I looked this up earlier, I saw all kinds of things, people, saying, oh, Nintendo's doing their kiddie thing still and all this stuff. And it's like, they're never going to get rid of that if they don't, stop doing that kind of stuff. And they have just always done that kind of thing. Always. Like, when we talked about Mortal Kombat a few podcasts ago, it's like,
oh yeah,
Super Nintendo version, you hit them and like sweat or sand or whatever the F comes out of them when you punch them in the face. It's like, nobody wants to play that. They're going to play the Genesis version where you can rip their hearts out and stuff.
Exactly.
And it's like, what?
And this is bad because I don't really want to use the word, but I'm going to. This is probably a little harsh. I can't think of a synonym that's not as harsh, but Nintendo's been very duplicitous when it comes to this kind of stuff. Because whenever they come out with a new console, they always say, yeah, we're going to cater to the hardcore gamer this time. We're going to, really have the titles that, real gamers want to play. Yeah, we're going to have the hardware, blah, blah, this, that, and the other. And then they come out and they don't. Because they know they have to talk that game or nobody's going to be excited about their console. And then they do crap like this. How is changing a game to remove a costume going to appeal to somebody who can go out and buy a PS4, play Witcher 3, and have sex in the game? I this sounds like I'm like some tangent, like I really want like sex all throughout video games. It's really not. But that's the thing, right? If you want somebody if you want to pull a crowd in that is excited about what you're doing in the video game industry, you have to be willing to do what most of the competition's doing. Now, I'm not saying everything. You know, I understand why Witcher 3 is not on Wii U, aside from hardware stuff and, you know, programming issues. That not being the case, I would be surprised to see like Witcher 3 on Wii U.
Oh, yeah.
But when it's something so small like this is the kind of like, honestly, I unless they could pull another Super Mario Maker out of their rear end, I'm definitely not going to get another Nintendo console if they come out with another one. I was not going to get the Wii U until Bayonetta 2 became an exclusive, so that was a good move on their part. And you know what? We thought that was a turning around, right? We thought that maybe that meant that something really cool was going to be going down with the Wii U.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we were wrong. I mean, there is cool stuff with it, don't get me wrong, but it's like, we were wrong in thinking that Nintendo fundamentally changed their approach to the console market, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Whenever I play a Nintendo console, I pretty much have gotten what I expect. I mean, I do it to get immersed in that Nintendo world, you know, all the Mario stuff, all the Zelda stuff, whatever. I don't really expect to play any hardcore stuff just because, you know, I mean, that's...
Well, they've taught you to expect that, right?
Exactly. So, I mean, I'm getting what I expect out of it, but yeah, if I'm going to play that kind of stuff, I have a PS4 for that. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's kind of the nature of it
I mean,
at the moment.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's always going to be the nature. Like, I understand why they want to do that. I really do. Like, I understand why they want to be the kid-friendly provider in the console market. And there's a need for that. There's a market for that. I just don't like when they do things like... just in general, you know, I don't like console exclusives. You know how I am about that. But I think that... they deserve it with the effort that they've put into like the Mario series, the Zelda series, all their first party IP. They treat that as a labor of love, and it's obvious when you play those games that's the kind of care that they put into it. So that actually has never really bothered me, that I could never play Mario on Genesis or, you know, anything like that. That's never bothered me. But when they go into contracts with third-party IP rights holders, you know, studios coming up with original IP, to say, you know, we're going to give you this lot of money, release it exclusive on our console. That's just, man, it bugs me. And we're twisting this into another topic, and I don't want to. Really, because the Bayonetta 2 probably would not have been made if they had not done that. So
yeah, I mean,
I can't get too mad about that one.
Published it partially. I mean, basically Sega had the rights to it. Sega owns it, and then Nintendo published it, and it was like this weird. Platinum Games developed it, Sega owned it, and then Nintendo published it. So
right,
it was just
like so Sega sub-licensed to Platinum to make it, and then licensed to Nintendo to release it. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know, man. And I want to know why we don't have any adult-only games. And of course, I say that again on the trail end of talking about, you know, sex and sexual themes and on these other things. But I think the problem is we've only had like sexually themed adult-only games. But I don't think that that's the limit of something that should be considered adult-only. I think there are very serious topics that deserve exploration in video games that would receive adult-only ratings that haven't been, mainly because video games are still perceived as children's toys. Because you don't get the people who would appreciate those type of... You don't get as many. I won't say you won't, because like certainly you and I both know lots of people who would be all up for that kind of stuff. But in general, you don't get a lot of the kinds of people who would be into real treatment of adult topics in video games, because those people generally are the ones who really get into things like, opera or stage or, serious, movies, not just, blockbuster movies. Because those are still and books, definitely, first and foremost books, because those are still the media that, those topics are best treated in, and are treated at all in. And I really wish video games could be that. I know they could be that. I really wish they would become that. And I'm really afraid that, I think one, lack of competition in the console market's holding it back. But I think also, there's just the perspective that video games in general are for children. Yeah. And I mean, even you look at like people my age and a little bit older, people in their 30s that are into video games, and you look at like on the whole what kind of video games they're in. I mean, it's still like, I don't want to say kid stuff because it's not kid stuff, but it's like, it's not like serious. Well, that's not true. I'm discrediting the Call of Duty series because that's always what's in my mind when I'm talking about that. I'm absolutely discrediting the Call of Duty series because I know that there are adult topics in those games, and I know that they're, from what I understand, treated pretty well depending on which sub-series or whatever you're playing. Like, I hear like Black Ops is pretty good. I'm probably doing myself a disservice by not actually playing those, so maybe I should go play some more video games and come back before I complain. But anyway, I don't know. I've probably vented enough on that. I'm not sure how much more I've got behind me. Like, I mean, I've got a lot more I'd like to say, but it's just going to spiral off into stuff that's like not extremely relevant at the moment.
We do have order more tires for that, so
we probably need to. I need to, but the thing is, I still need to organize my thoughts a bit about it before we delve into it, because it's like a lot of things. It's like everything in my life, really. I think a lot, right? Yeah. And I think a lot about the things that I'm interested in, and it's like I want to write books, but I'm not patient enough to write books about it. So everybody just gets to hear me get on soapboxes and flap my gums.
That's cool. Flapping is good.
So anything that you want to speak on this topic? I know I've kind of, commandeered this section.
I figure for those of you who don't know, which is, everyone other than the two of us, we use Trello, which is like a kind of task management kind of deal where we keep track of topics that we're going to talk about on this podcast and everything. And Jabatuya over there left a comment on this week's podcast saying, hey, we should do this topic, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, immediately when I read that, I was like, he's going to have something very passionate to say about this. So
you were right.
So I thought I would take a lighter approach to this, and I have a giant list of a bunch of censoringnesses that have happened over the course of video gaming history.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so some are kind of funny. Like, let's see. Apparently, in Super Mario RPG, Bowser in Japan, he gave the middle finger. One of his animations was he gave the middle finger. But in the U.S. version, he obviously doesn't do that because it has more of a harsh meaning over here. So I thought that was pretty funny.
I would have lost my crap if that happened playing Super Mario RPG.
It says, Bowser's middle finger pose was changed for Western releases to be much less offensive, as this is considered a very obscene gesture in Western territories.
So wait. I'm curious now. So is it like kind of rude, but like not super bad in
that's
Japan?
That's a good question. That's what I thought. I was like, that's interesting. So is it just like calling somebody a butthead in Japan or something? Just go around flipping the middle finger at everybody?
Like Mr. Bean.
Right. Oh, man. Let's see. What was another one? Oh, actually, this is kind of funny. So Bionic Commando for the NES. And I saw this earlier. There's a Twitter account that I follow it's like Gameversary or something like that. They tweet about today this game was released, whatever, how many years ago. And apparently Bionic Commando was released like I don't remember what, like 25 years ago. I'm just throwing a number out there. X amount of
probably
years
about
ago
right.
in
Yeah.
Europe today. So that's kind of funny that I'd be talking about this right now. But so apparently this game was renamed from Top Secret: The Resurrection of Hitler.
Oh my goodness!
And
What?
so, the character of Hitler was in the game, and it was renamed to Master D for the U.S. version. The enemies were Nazis, and in the game they're called the Bads.
The Bads.
The Bads, BADDS.
Man.
And all of the swastikas were edited out into some like eagle thing.
Oh yeah. Wow.
So, it's like, wow, okay. I think I saw a video somewhere not too long ago where somebody pointed out that the main villain in that game looked like Hitler. So
Oh.
that would be
What do you
why.
know?
Who knew?
Oh, this is relevant yet tangential. I only learned recently that, you know, the NES game Journey to Silius?
Yeah.
That was supposed to be a Terminator game. And
Really?
they only, like, at the last minute weren't able to secure the rights, or they had the rights taken from them or something.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I actually haven't played that game.
I was watching a playthrough, like a speed run, and the guy was talking about, oh, and you could totally see it was a Terminator game. I'm like, what?
That's pretty funny. Does it look good? I've heard that it's pretty good.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. I mean, it's just like a side-scrolling shooter.
Okay.
I mean, not shooter like a Gradius shooter, but like a shooter like Mega Man.
Yeah, that's cool.
A platforming shooter, whatever, whatever you call that.
I don't even know.
Bang bang jump.
Pew pew, pow pow. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's a game that I've been looking to get. I think it's about like a $15 game, so it's
Dude, the music's worth $15.
Is it?
Sounds like In Flames did the soundtrack for
I'm
that
in.
game.
Sold.
I'm telling you, dude, it sounds like late 90s In Flames. I really want to do the theme song to that, because it's like, I bet you whoever did that music was an In Flames fan. Actually, it was probably earlier than In Flames
Okay.
coming
I'll
out.
have to look that
I
up.
think their first album was like 94 or something, and I'm sure the game was like 89, 90.
I didn't know the game was, or the music was good. I just heard the game was good, so that's cool.
Let me put it this way: the title track's amazing. The rest of it, I don't know if I've listened to it much.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I've been looking for that for a while. I haven't. Nobody seems to have it. Seems to be fairly uncommon, but not expensive. So.
It's a Sunsoft game.
Sunsoft. Okay, Sunsoft games have good music. I did not know it was a Sunsoft game.
Oh yeah. So what other Sunsoft games have good music? I need to go
Fester's
find this.
Quest. I sent you.
Oh, okay.
I think I sent you like a boss theme or something. It's like
Yeah,
one of the most
yeah.
metal things I've ever heard. It's like this random Addams Family game.
Their music guy or guys were like probably super metalheads.
Probably. Blaster Master. Have you played that?
Oh yeah.
And that's just a great game in general.
Right. That's awesome. Man, now I have to go listen to some NES soundtracks.
Yeah, just listeners, YouTube, Sunsoft soundtracks. Just look up Sunsoft music. It's fantastic. Anyway,
Sweet. Any other censorship that's interesting, funny, or annoying?
let's see. Cruisin' USA for the N64. The name of the shaft. I guess they're talking about the shift knob or something, or I don't exactly know what that is. But apparently in the arcade version, it was called the XL Power Shaft, and they renamed it the XL Power
That's funny.
because shaft is a bad word.
Naturally. Well, I mean, you say that in front of a bunch of 13-year-olds, see what happens.
Right, exactly.
I say that, and you say that in front of me. I'm 32, and I would probably chuckle.
Right. Dudes never grow up, man.
In fact, I think I did when you said that.
Right? But yeah, there are tons on this list. But yeah, those were just some funny ones that I saw.
That is pretty funny.
And of course, there's the classic from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, the
Oh, right.
hot coffee thing or whatever. I can't even find it.
Yeah, I know there's been a whole lot of things that are censored in games. The problem is, like, you get a lot of stuff that's, like, reactionary, too. Like, there's been a lot of, like, completely independently done, like, PC games where it's just, like, it's so offensive, it's just tasteless, I'm not saying that I want those kind of games to prevail.
Yeah.
But I support the ability for somebody to bring that out on any platform, they want. Now, are they going to sell any? Probably not. Maybe 5 to like their parents and friends, but
something interesting that I just remembered. So the AVGN game, it recently came out on the Wii U, on the eShop, and there is a level in this game that is basically based off of what's that Atari game called? Custer's Revenge. All those Atari porn games. So there's a level that's just like flat out based on that, and like, yeah, it's filthy. There are so many ridiculous aspects of it that are just absolutely filthy. But it's not in the Wii U version. In order for him to release it, he had to basically completely redo that world. So,
man, I mean,
it's kind of questionable, but
I mean, it's questionable for kids. Right. That's the thing, though. But for adults, the humor in that's why it's there. It's not there because Custer's Revenge or whatever was a good game.
Yeah.
It was because it's like ridiculous and stupid, and why was this ever made as a game? It's a farce. It's not because let's tribute this really good game, pay tribute to.
Yeah. Oh, and beat 'em and eat 'em.
Oh my goodness.
How silly of me.
Totally forgot about that one, man.
But yeah.
Oh.
Video games, guys.
Everybody's gonna come in and argue that lack of censorship is what crashed the video game industry in the 80s. Oh man. Anyway, all right. Well, like I said, I've said all I'm gonna say on the topic for now.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add to it?
Negative.
Hammer K?
We will stamp this with a order more tires stamp and address it later.
Yeah. To be continued. All right, man. Well, I have nothing else to add to this, the 7th edition of the OOTPC. What about you?
Happy Back to the Future Day for everybody. Since we didn't actually do anything for that. And that's actually my favorite movie, which, like, the day happened and I was like, wow, I should have done something, but I didn't do a single thing. So,
bummer.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So, for those of you who don't know, that was October 21st. Yes. 2015, because that's the day in Back to the Future Part 2 that Doc, Marty, Jennifer went to when they had to go to change their children's behavior. Well, we shouldn't say the whole movie. Yes, probably.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
You should put a note in the comments that says Back to the Future 2 spoilers at X time.
Right. If you've not seen Back to the Future Part 2, number 1, why? Number 2, why? Number 3, you need to fix it. And number 4, why?
Right.
No, seriously, if you haven't seen all the Back to the Future movies, go watch them immediately. Your life is missing something important.
I'm just happy that... Oh, by the way, side note, we need to have a discussion about that. I know everybody on the internet has done like Back to the Future 2 got this right and this wrong. But there's some cool things that we can talk about there. But we can order more tires that later.
Yeah.
The one thing that I am glad about, and this has been so irritating, is like the past couple of years, it has been on Facebook just randomly all over the place. This was the day that Marty and Doc, and it's like, no, it wasn't. This was not the day. So now that day is actually in the past, now we can let go of that, and it doesn't have to be the day anymore, and it doesn't have to spread hoaxes all over the internet.
Right. All I know is I saw a million different people post, this is how we're supposed to dress tomorrow.
Oh my God.
Make a note.
Right. And all the closet Back to the Future fans come out. I felt like such a Back to the Future hipster on that day. I was like, psh.
Oh, I know, dude. I know. Although one thing's really cool though, of all of the posts about, how Biff and Friends dressed in part 2. The best one was there's this card shop up in Ripley that said, I don't even care. If you come in dressed like that, you get 15% off today. I was like, man, good on you. That's awesome.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. All right, dude. Well, it sounds like we've got some good ammunition for the next ordering of more tires. So
tires will be ordered.
We'll save that for then. Until then, we are Order of Tier. Check out our website, videogamemetal.com. We got some musics there. We also have some musics and the podcast on soundcloud.com/videogamemetal. Everywhere else on the internet, we're /Order of Tier, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Vine. There's always one that I'm missing. Did I say YouTube? We're on YouTube.
I always forget.
We're probably on other things too.
We're on everything but Pinterest.
Theeverything.com.
Right.
Check us out. Yeah. We appreciate you guys for listening this far. This has been the 7th edition of the OOTPC. That guy over there across the inner tubes is Mike the Hammer K. Klodzinski. I'm the Game Mage. We'll see you guys next time.
Goodbye, Internet.